This became an opportunity for you when Cary Fukunaga, who was previously attached to direct the reboot, stepped away over creative disagreements. Word was that he wanted to keep some version of the scene in the King book where these kids engaged in a group sex act, a bonding ritual, and then there was something about a cookie with the boys' bodily fluids on it.
Jesus Christ, man.
Anyway, it was hard to imagine a wide studio release featuring such things, but can you explain how you dealt with that? And then the director basically said, "Well, we didn't want to do that. It didn't make sense in the story." So we all know that there's the scene in the King book where a bunch of like 13, 14-year-old boys take turns with the one girl in their group as a bonding ritual to reinforce their
in the sewer.
courage. And
well, it's also to help symbolize that they've grown up. Yeah,
it's so weird, but everybody knows about that.
But I can't believe we're starting this episode with this.
I wanted to. It was an intentional decision by me. Okay. So my question is, why did Cary Fukunaga want to keep it?
I think this is just muckraking and slander. I don't think anyone in their right mind would actually be totally into that idea.
The other question is that what was the bit about the bodily fluids in the cookie?
I think that's just someone being a dick and making that up. It's whenever someone leaves a project, they always try to come up with a reason for it. I think people either speculate really horrible things, like less extreme examples. Let's say Tim Miller on Deadpool 2. Everyone started coming up with this theory that he wanted to cast someone that would not fit at all for Cable. Mm-hmm. And kept saying that he was pushing really hard and got into screaming matches with Reynolds on the set over whether or not they should cast this guy. And that wasn't true at all, and multiple people, himself and even people still working on the film, said, yeah, that's not true. That was just a thing that some asshole said so that it's easier to generate hype for your movie when you can kind of drum up the, the behind-the-scenes drama and go, yeah, well, you know what that first director wanted to do? He was a real creep. He wanted to cast this guy as Cable.
Well,
I think this is a more extreme version of that, where it's just like, hey, well, that first one was a pedophile. That's why we kicked him out.
If that was their intention, then it worked, because currently, the It reboot is tracking at around 70 to 80 million opening. Which is going to be the biggest opening since, I don't know. It's been a while since a big movie opened. Like, Spider-Man, maybe?
I guess?
Yeah, I'd say
what
Spider-Man.
Was the last, giant blood? Aren't we in, the movie drought right now?
Well, we're in a movie drought right now because, nobody decided to open a movie on Labor Day weekend. And...
I mean, you could all go not see Hitman's Bodyguard for, the 5th week in a row.
It's still at number 1 at the box office, despite the fact that nobody really likes it. It's just, it's number 1 by default, because there's nothing to challenge it.
A movie watched by 5 people is still a movie watched more than a movie watched by 1 person.
Although,
does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's not impressive. It's just better than something shitty.
Although I do have to say that the bodily fluids on the cookie is not entirely impossible.
Okay, I mean, I don't know a whole lot about the guys working on this. I know that for sure wasn't in the book, but maybe I'm just the blind optimist.
The thing is, I just thought of that. Because I just thought about this other thing that I read about that you're kind of that I want to scar you with. So get ready for that.
Okay.
Are you ready to be scarred?
What?
Okay, so I just remember that because there's this movie coming out called Call Me by Your Name, which is a what is it? Which is an Oscar contender that's going to come out starring Armie Hammer. And of course, it's also like a movie about a gay and coming out and all of that. And there's a romance between like a 17-year-old and a 24-year-old.
Okay.
But here's the part, is that there's a scene involving a peach. And I read about this because there was in the comments of the review that's kind of hilarious.
I'm sure you're pulling up something absurd that you're gonna read off, and then we can use.
This is a Wikipedia page article. Let's see. In the so the 17-year-old is named Elio. Elio in the afternoon lies on his bed. What's the word? Peeling the banana with a cut open peach and releases inside of it. And then the other guy visits his room and he just chows down on the peach.
Knowing the contents of said peach?
Yes.
This is not normal behavior. This is not what people do when they're well adjusted.
I can't wait for that to be called homophobic in the comments.
I'm sorry, I thought eating fruit with quantities of semen in it was not considered normal, but maybe I'm just being closed-minded. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned because I don't want to... I don't think that's appropriate. What about that other movie that Guillermo del Toro has out that has the fish sex? Is that what the theme of this episode is about? It's just weird movie sex scenes that are topical?
It's called The Shape of Water.
Oh. And there's a merman.
There's supposedly
like a fish man.
Like it's kind of like a fish man, or more like a frog man, or an amphibious man. And of course, there's a sex scene between the mute janitor lady who works at the Cold War era base that he's stored at, and then they have a romance, and he has sex with her, and it's somewhat graphic.
Huh. Well, I mean, Guillermo del Toro's doing something at least.
Guillermo del Toro likes monsters. Apparently, he likes monster sex too.
I mean, did you see Hellboy 2?
I did not. I haven't even seen the first one.
Watch the animated movies; those are awesome. You know, I gotta tell you, it's kind of unnerving now that, like, just fish sex. That's where we're at with movies. Have we run out of ideas? Are we just gonna start making creepy fan art that you can find from any... Like, can we just have the Sonic fan art movie? Can we do that, David?
Sure, why not?
You know, if anything's free game, and you can make a weird movie about, like, you know, two guys learning about their sexuality and coming out, and then eating cum peaches. You know, why not just make a movie about anything, you know?
Well, you
can have a movie about a lady getting it on with a fish man.
And there was also Moonlight that won the best picture, which is also about...
I thought it was Lola.
A gay black guy.
Okay, you see, in contrast, Moonlight does not have a scene where someone eats a peach filled with jizz. It does not have that scene. It's a movie about a similar idea, but it doesn't have that part.
But that doesn't make it better. That makes it worse.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So we know for sure that David loves two types of food. Peaches and tofu. with extra mayo, if you know what I'm saying.
Mayonnaise isn't really all that good on its own, though.
You're such a dork. You should come over here so I could beat you up. So how is life over in Kansas City, Nevada?
City. I told you I'm closer to the East Coast than the West Coast.
So New York City.
Yeah. Well, it's very there's not a lot of people here in New York City. It's a small rural town that nobody really visits.
Okay, so New York City, Kansas. What's it like? What's it like going to the store, or do you not have to do that because they feed you?
Well, I have a meal plan, so I go to the cafeteria.
What if you need something like pencils, or like?
So far, I haven't had a need for pencils, but I could either order it off Amazon or I could walk to the store.
You know, I feel uncomfortable being outside of the state of Colorado, but I could not imagine walking around casually on the street anywhere outside of the state. Like, I can go hang out at someone's house outside of the state, or I can go, like, visit, like, a public place, like a convention outside of the state. I could not go there and then just sit in a house and then leave and go walk down the street to go to the store. That's, like, this too much. My social anxiety would cause me to just start having a seizure.
Well, I mean, look, Colorado may be the best state by far, and other states like Indiana, where I am,
yeah, you would say that, you pothead,
aren't as good.
It's your favorite state because you can toke up.
Who's still staying there? Who's still living in that state, by the way?
I mean, do you mean like of people we know, or just in general?
Of us in the call. Us in this call. So, I left, so clearly I must not love that stuff as much as you do.
You don't love I Love You, Mary Jane?
You love the Mary Jane.
I love you, Mary Jane. You remember that? I put that in one of my videos and no one got the reference.
I don't either.
It's because he's talking about the marijuana.
The marriage of Juana?
Okay.
Who did Juana marry?
The marriage of Juana? Well, Juana wanted to marriage.
Yeah?
I don't know. I'm very tired today.
Mm-hmm.
This podcast is probably sounding really stupid so far, just because I'm so...
Clearly our conversation is very sophomoric, let's say.
Yeah, this conversation's been a little all over the place right now. Mm-hmm. Good thing we're only like 13 minutes in, so I can kind of get my shit together. If everyone hasn't clicked off by now after the long, awkward pauses. Hold on, let me...
Ow! While you wake yourself up, why don't we talk about what we've been watching / reading?
Okay,
we haven't done that in a while, so I'm gonna talk first because I'm talking right now, and I'm not gonna let you talk because
of course you're gonna talk first.
Because I'm better than you.
Garbage. I'll kill you.
Of course.
I'll kill your whole family.
This is not related to movies, but I've been listening. I discovered Mary Elizabeth Winstead's album, and that's music. So, you know who Mary Elizabeth Winstead is? You know the actress
Ramona
10
Flowers,
Cloverfield Lane.
10 Cloverfield Lane. She was in the Thing reboot.
She was in Scott Pilgrim.
I said that already.
She was in Swiss Army Man. She was on the latest season of Fargo. So she's a really underrated actress. But
I wish she was Domino in Deadpool 2.
But turns out she's also made an album just because, I guess.
Just for funs.
It's called Got a Girl, and because they've got a girl in the group.
Well, okay.
They actually make pretty decent music. There's a music video on YouTube called Did We Live Too Fast, which is their lead single, and that's the only single they ever released, and they only made one album. I love the album name, though. Do you want me to tell you what it is?
What?
I love you, but I must drive off this cliff right now.
It's such a dumb hipster title for an album.
It's such a great title, though. I love it.
I hate it. It's so dumb.
I love it. But yeah, it's kind of like sort of like down tempo, sort of like French inspired pop music that I like. I like it. I like weird music.
Actually, aren't you doing a video right now on music?
So I've got a script written about music
that I've helped give opinions on.
I haven't decided to. I haven't recorded it or edited it yet because I'm super behind on editing stuff because of collage. So yeah. Do you want me to talk about it or what?
Yeah, go ahead. I would love to hear that. And then after that, I can do my segment of reading and watching. So
okay.
What's up with this new video? It's some new content from you, and I kind of like the idea of you branching out a little since you're still relatively small.
So I am talking about. I'm not exactly a music person, at least not like a playing music person, but I do listen to music, and I like sort of like indie European stuff mostly, like electronic occasionally. But I'm going to talk about one of my favorite artists, who is a Swedish pop singer by the name of Robin with a Y. So how would you pronounce Robin with a Y?
Robin with a Y.
Robin?
Rabin?
Rabin?
Robian?
Robin?
Robian? Yeah. Robin.
There's not enough vowels.
It's Robin. That's how you pronounce it. It's like Robbie, but with an N at the end of it. Margot Elizabeth Robin.
Robbie the Rob singer?
Robbie the Rabbit? Any sense.
So Robin is a pretty cool singer. She one of her lesser known accomplishments that I think is one of her cooler ones is that she actually recorded a single with that's a duet between her and Snoop Dogg. And the song is called
I would totally want to hear that. That's like sort of pop music, but also with Snoop Dogg in it.
It's called You Should Know Better, and it's You Should Know Better Than to with me. It's amazing. It's really cool. I sent it to you on Messenger so you can listen to it. But I just talk about one of her songs, which is specifically her new signature tune, because in 2010, like, she's been working since the 90s, and if you remember Show Me Love, which was her big breakout hit, it's bad, but you remember it. I don't like her earlier stuff, but she released Body Talk in 2010, and that's an amazing album. And Dancing on My Own is the song in particular that I want to talk about. It's a great song. Have you listened to it?
I did, actually. Right around the time you were writing that script and you sent it to me, I decided to check it out.
What do you think of it?
It's all right. I mean, it's not exactly my cup of tea. I'm pretty eclectic when it comes to music, but it's that particular kind. It's just not really my thing. But it's not bad by any means. It's pretty good, actually. I could see how slowing that down as sad piano music would make it shitty.
Basically, what Xavier is getting at is that Dancing on My Own has become a really popular song to cover. For example, if I enter in Dancing on My Own into YouTube, like I just did, Robin is not the first result you see. You see Callum Scott first. And he was a Britain's Got Talent contestant who became viral off of that success, and he released it as a single. And it actually charted pretty well, especially in Europe, and it has over 200 million views versus 34 million on Robin. And then you scroll down a bit and you see Pentatonics covering it, Kings of Leon covering it. I don't know if this is actually true, but there's a Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber version that shows up. There's The Voice singing it.
But then when it comes to the original version,
the
it's
voice
like nowhere to
Portugal
be
singing it. But it's like the original version is the best because it's a dance song about dancing. Like, and every single cover of it, because it's a breakup song. It's about, you know, the Robin showing up to dance at the nightclub, but at the other end of the club, she sees her ex boyfriend or whatever there, who's dancing with someone else, and she's like, I want to enjoy on my own, but I can't when I just see you there, and I'm reminded of what I used to be doing. And that's a really great emotional hook there, but it only works if it's a dance song where you're trying to dance, but you're also emotional at the same time. And of course, everybody just covers it as like a breakup song where it's just slow it down, delicate piano beat. I need to show off my singing ability.
I need everyone to know that I'm a super good singer so I can get that album deal.
I want to win this singing competition.
Turn off the bright lights. It's up to me now. You know?
And then, of course, beyond that, I go and talk about, like, this is a larger issue beyond just...
where, like, original versions of songs get buried because there's so many, like, sad piano covers on American Idol.
Well, I'm talking about other stuff beyond just the way that this one song is terrible, but I'm not going to talk about that too much because I need to say something for the actual...
Yeah, no, this is just a
review.
A preface on the topic. Right now, we're not gonna. You watch the video when it comes out.
Yeah, in like 2 years.
So, I mean, you know, just see you in 2 years, everyone.
So, what have you been watching and reading and writing?
Okay, well, I've been writing scripts for a narrative series for YouTube that's still like a very long way out. Don't expect it anytime soon. It's like planning phase stage 1 of like 20. So, but it's something cool. I finished watching Prison Break because I decided to get back into that show over the course of the summer. Just why not? And barely got through the last part of it around the time school started.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta say, it's a cool show. I mean, it could have ended a little bit more fulfilling. I mean, is it okay if I spoil it? Because it's been out since 2007, the ending of this?
Well, if I wanted to watch it, I would have watched it by now, so...
Okay. Basically, like, everything gets resolved, but then they just kind of, like, flip off the audience and go, oh, by the way, the main character dies off screen of some unrelated illness that he's been having throughout the last season. So it's like, I thought that was resolved. I thought he got surgery for that. And it's like, nope. You just kind of, like, we defeated the bad guys, we saved the world, basically, everything's going fine, and then it just cuts to them setting flowers on his grave, and it's been like 4 years. And it was like, wow, that was a really shitty way to end it. And then I remembered, wait, didn't they say they were going to do a revival? Is that out yet? And I found out that revival has been out for like 5 months, and I somehow managed to miss it entirely, and there's a whole extra season I gotta watch now, where apparently his death was faked, which... I mean, I guess you could have figured that if they were going to kill him off screen. So, I thought I was done with a show, but now I have to watch more of a show.
You don't have to.
I do, because I'm invested in these characters now, and this plot, and I also kind of want to make fun of it a little, just because it's so hilarious how overcomplicated some parts of this show are. But it's pretty cool. And then the other day you were telling me about that about stuff you were watching on Amazon Prime, and I remembered that actually that wasn't the other day, it was yesterday, like before I went to bed. You were talking about stuff on Amazon Prime, so I was like, hey, maybe I'll go take a look back at that and see if there's anything that I haven't been able to watch before. And I found Mr. Robot, which we've been talking about a lot at my film classes, just because we've been talking about cinematography, and one of the first things they did was show how weird that show is when it comes to framing, because it uses the rule of thirds, but in a really bizarre way, where it's always putting the characters in the bottom left corner of the screen, and then just leaving a ton of negative space, so it feels like everything's empty and small. Like, it feels like the subjects of the scene are really small, and then everything else is very, like, vast and empty. So I guess you could almost, like, you could interpret it as maybe the main character's, like, feeling of loneliness is shown through visuals, or maybe his feeling of smallness compared to the antagonist, which is like this unseen force that has more money and influence than ever, you know, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's cool to see a show that has like a lot of work put into just actual cinematography and filmmaking, because you'd be surprised how few and far between those are. Like, there's a lot of shows that just point the camera at the subjects and that's it. They don't put any like extra thought into it. It's just, what's the quickest way we can film this scene? You know,
I have not watched Mr. Robot at all.
According to Amazon Prime, you'd watched about 5 minutes of it. Because when I went, because we share that account, and when I turned it on, it said resume watching, 5 minutes, and I was like, oh. Either David or his parents checked this.
It's my account, it's not my parents.
Oh.
But, I kind of watched it, and then I just I just gave up. I watched, like, very little.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the main character borders a little on being a little too edgy with his whole fuck society rant. But
yeah, I kind of watched the opening, like sort of like rant about how society's a lie and everything, and it just stopped after that.
It's one of those shows that has potential to be, like, very meaningful and have a lot to say, or it's just going to be super pretentious because it's going to be like, hey, do you have a cell phone? You're an asshole. I'm waiting to see which direction it goes. And I do like the actor in it, though. He was great in Until Dawn, that video game.
Mm-hmm.
He was, like, the best part of that game, honestly, because his performance was just so, like, on point throughout it, and he played such a weird, deep character in there. And it, like, even though he was like mocapping and doing like the facial capture and the voiceover, it still carried over really well his performance, in spite of the fact that he wasn't actually ever on a camera.
I have something to talk about. The main character from Mr. Robot, Malik or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you want to guess what famous rock star he's going to be playing in a movie directed by a blockbuster director?
Okay, I'm going to guess the blockbuster director.
Yeah?
Is this one of Michael Bay's off projects between Transformers films? Like,
No. You're on the right track, but you're not right.
Okay, is it a blockbuster director that you can, like, laugh at? Like, oh boy, his movies? Or is it someone that people take a little bit more seriously, like, they like his stuff?
He's in the middle.
It's not Edgar Wright.
No. Edgar Wright has never been a blockbuster director. This guy is basically known for making one type of movie.
It's not Zack Snyder.
No. You're getting closer.
Christopher Nolan.
You're getting colder.
Oh, damn. No, okay, I'm thinking too artsy. I have to go more towards dumb territory. How about, Roland Emmerich?
You're colder.
Damn. Who is it? Who's the director?
Bryan Singer.
Fuck, I was so close.
You were. Zack Snyder was on the right track.
Yeah.
Bryan Singer is going to be directing a biopic about a rock legend starring Rami Malek. And do you want to guess who it is?
A rock legend. Well, I'm trying to think of who the guy from Mr. Robot reminds me of in terms of rock legends. Is it a newer rock legend, or is it like? No. Okay. It's not Elvis.
No. He
Are we talking like 80s hair band, or are we like
70s?
70s. Ooh, all right. Does it involve makeup?
Kinda.
Okay.
British.
All right. Well, it's not the Beatles because that's I don't.
No,
really
it's
count.
not the Beatles.
Damn it. Who am I thinking of? Is it Queen? No.
Yes.
Was it?
Freddie Mercury.
Yeah. Okay, I was thinking because I was like, I mean, who do I know who is a rock legend from not America in the 70s? Oh, sweet, I got it.
Yep. So yeah, Bryan Singer is going to be directing it.
Well, I mean, I guess they won't let him play with giant budgets to make shit like X-Men movies anymore.
Well, I feel like he kind of shot himself in the foot with X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ugh. I still have flashbacks to X-Men Apocalypse. It's just 2 years. It's just 2 hours of nothing happening. It's really bizarre.
Mind-bogglingly bad.
It's like nothing in there is like offensive or like just incompetent. It's just
dumb,
bland and unforgettable. Like
also, I love how Magneto has his family that's there just to die.
Oh yeah, as soon as I saw them show up, I was like, all right, how's Magneto gonna get them killed and then take it out on humans?
I knew they were going to die the instant that he was putting his daughter to bed, because that was way too that he was way too wholesome, and it was way too romanticized. So it was
every time your family life is going really, really well, you should be worried that they're gonna get killed by like normal people, so that you'll have a reason to use your superpowers for evil again.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be a guy with superpowers who's having just a really like good life. It just doesn't work that way.
Basically, you have two career options. You can either fall in love with people and just have them die over and over and over again, or you can just be like Wolverine and just have casual sex and don't really get attached.
It reminds me of a joke I'm gonna have in my Ultimate Alliance review, because there's this goofy bit of dialogue where Jean Grey, should a certain set of scenarios happen where she would sacrifice herself, she goes, "Tell Scott I love him, and tell Logan I'm sorry," right? And I was like, what if I just edited it so she says, "Tell Scott I love him," and then "Tell Logan I love him." Like, just edit it so she says the same thing for both.
Mm-hmm.
Pick someone, Jean Grey.
That was the most forced drama ever. It's so dumb.
I've never been a fan of like a lot of the relationship choral stuff in the X-Men, just because it feels so... After a while, it starts to feel a little weird because everyone's living in the same house and going on adventures for like 10 years now, I guess, in canon.
Here's my question. This is not... I'm sure this is different in the comics, but in the movies, why doesn't Storm ever get any love?
In the comics, she has a romance, and I think she should get with Wolverine. Okay, you're gonna laugh at what I'm gonna say. Is she's had 2 major romances. One, I guess, didn't work out. You're gonna laugh. Is she was married to Black Panther, and that will never happen now.
Why not?
Because movie rights.
Well, why can't it happen in the comics?
Because I mean, in the comics, it's kind of like the same segregation is starting to happen, where mutants are kind of put on the wayside, just because like Marvel is being a little passive aggressive about the rights. Like, the only character really that Fox owns the rights to that Marvel is still pushing is Deadpool. They just keep announcing more Deadpool comics and like promoting the movie and shit.
That's only because Deadpool is too big to kill.
Exactly, but with like the X-Men, Professor X is dead. The X-Men are disbanded. Most of the mutants on Earth, because by the way, the the Inhumans get their powers through contact with this mist that's like a
the
bioweapon.
gases.
Yeah, so you gas like a major population center, and then some people will die, or others will cocoon over if they have the right genes for it. So certain people are capable of being Inhumans. And basically the thing is that the Terrigen Mist kills off mutants just because I guess the X gene is conflicting with it, and they're like, well, I can't give you more powers, so it just like makes them shrivel up and die. So almost all of the world's mutants are dead and have been replaced by an equal number population of Inhumans. So the mutants died so we could replace them with the Inhumans. I wonder if there's an agenda there. I wonder if maybe Ike Perlmutter like specifically told the writers to put that in there, and that wasn't like a creative decision. Like he specifically just put a document out that said no more mutants. And then the writing staff was like, well, shit, I guess we got to go for it.
Well, this is the man who who did say that when replacing what was his name?
War Machine, Rhodey.
War Machine, they said, they're both black, he won't notice.
Nobody will notice. Yeah, Ike Perlmutter's a schmuck. So, the X-Men, they're kind of falling apart. But Storm did have a relationship with Logan. They became.
Yeah, I think that would be a much better relationship, much healthier relationship for Logan.
Is because she's like a stoic badass. He's a stoic badass. She can take care of herself in a fight, and he doesn't need to worry about her getting killed constantly because she's arguably maybe stronger than he is. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't have a million daddy issues to work out.
And he doesn't need to butt heads constantly with Cyclops for no reason.
Yeah, because Cyclops is a racist and doesn't want to... Cyclops doesn't like black people, so Logan's fine. I'm totally all for pushing the narrative that Cyclops is also, in addition to being a murderer and a fucking cheater on Jean Grey, he's also a racist and hates the black mutants.
Or what about this? Since Iceman is gay now, they could have a progressive relationship there.
What, you mean Logan and Iceman?
Yeah. Why not?
There is an alternate universe where Logan and Hercules are a couple. Like, okay, in the Marvel universe, they have Norse and also a little bit of Greek mythology. So Hercules is a character, and he's kind of like the bro version of Thor. Like, imagine more bro than Thor already is. So I mean, it's not out of the question for there to be a gay Wolverine. So I think that basically what we're saying is that in the X-Men movies, Logan needs to stop pining over Jean Grey and either get with Iceman or get with Storm. I don't know. I feel like part of him looks down on Iceman a lot. It would have to be someone who's a little bit more adult. Like, if you're going for gay Wolverine, and I know a lot of people would be upset by this, like, we're just speculating, like, if they went that direction. We're not saying it absolutely should or anything.
I'm just saying that given the current direction of Marvel, it's more likely now than it ever was before.
Yeah, but especially now that Wolverine's most likely coming back, because of, Marvel Legacy stuff, so, But... I don't know. I feel like if that were a thing, I feel like someone more like Hercules, like a big tough dude guy who smashes things and is invincible, would be more likely than Iceman, who's kind of like, he's kind of Spider-Man-y. Like, it wouldn't. I don't think Wolverine would be into that. I think Wolverine, if he were gay, would be more into like the heftier, musclier guys. What? Although I do think him and
I kind of spaced out for a second. I wasn't hearing what you were saying.
I'm saying Wolverine would be into the butch dudes, and not necessarily the hi, I'm a young 20-something-year-old schmuck who makes wisecracks kind of guy. Like,
Are you assuming that
Thor,
are you saying that he likes certain types of body types more than others? Are you saying that they're not all equal?
Although, it's... I wonder why...
You're body shaming Iceman.
Yeah. Yeah?
You're a terrible person now.
Iceman does not have a round enough ass. Okay? There, I said it. When he turns into his ice form, it gets all blocky and reminds me of ice cubes, There's just nothing to grab. It's got like a hard edge on it. It's not rounded, He's too blocky in his ice form. I don't even...
This is such a bizarre episode.
I know. I like it. I like this direction.
We talked about
keep it rolling. Don't
we talked about it and the peach, and now this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So anyway, more on racist Cyclops. If you guys want a cool story, go check out Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe, in which.
Wait. So who killed the Marvel Universe again? Because Deadpool killed the Marvel Universe, and now Punisher kills the Marvel Universe.
Punisher did it first by like 10 years.
But if Punisher killed the Marvel Universe, then how can Deadpool kill the Marvel Universe? Because isn't the Marvel Universe already dead?
It's different universes. It's different versions of the Marvel Universe.
Mm-hmm.
So, like here's a universe where what if Deadpool went postal and just started massacring everyone, and then here's a universe where what if Punisher did, and the reason Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe will always be better, and will always be one of the greatest storylines of all time, is because instead of Punisher's family getting killed by like a mob hit that went wrong in the park in New York, instead, basically, like, the fight scene from Avengers 1 spills out of the city and then into the park, and then his family gets killed during the resulting superhero battle, right? Mm-hmm. And then the Avengers and X-Men all kind of land and are like, dude, we're sorry about your family and your and stuff. And Punisher's sitting there and he goes, sorry? Mm-hmm. You're sorry? And then he shoots Cyclops in the face and explodes his head right then and there. And then everyone's like, oh, fuck, dude!
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, Wolverine's like, we should kill him right now. And he's like, dude, he's just upset because his wife and kid literally are a puddle over there. And Cyclops is just like on the ground gurgling like that Walking Dead scene. And it's just nice to see Cyclops get killed.
Well, he was French kissed to death in X-Men 3.
He killed Professor X in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
You know that? You know that?
So yeah,
one last thing that I've been reading is a interesting little comic called well, it's a little mini series of comics. There are 6 issues each, called the Strange Talent of Luther Strode, and it has really cool art and really excessively violent action scenes, and it's kind of bizarre and awesome. And if you're looking for something with some really impressive art in a comic,
mm-hmm.
as well as something kind of on the same plane of existence as Splatterhouse, I would say go check that out. It's pretty mad.
Cool.
It's pretty cool.
So, I wanted to talk about something interesting because, it's fall coming up, so of course, now that the summer movie season is basically all but dead in the water, the next thing that everybody's going to start talking about is the Oscar race. And this is kind of an interesting race because, for a number of other things, Matt Damon is competing against himself.
What?
Yeah, he's competing against himself. He has 2 movies in the running for this year's film festival award circuit. There is Suburbicon, which was penned by the Coen brothers, the screenplay, and then it's directed by George Clooney. And then there's Downsizing, written and directed by Alexander Payne.
Huh.
So, Suburbicon it's kind of funny because it's such a fun... because this is why we all like Matt Damon. Because after the horrible abomination that was The Great Wall, he is coming back he's coming back with some other stuff, which and they're both from Paramount, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So they're both from the same studio and the same star, and these are the kind of films that he's making after Great Wall, which is awful. So there's Alexander Payne's Downsizing, which is like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, except down to earth with like social satire and stuff. So it's about this guy called Matt Damon's character who decides to undergo a process in this world where they shrink you down to a tiny size, who live in like tiny villages to save like an overpopulated world. So it's like if
Ant-Man was mixed with that show where they travel back in time to the dinosaur lands because population's too much. Terra Nova.
It says a kind of live-action Pixar movie on acid. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, directed by what's his name? RoboCop.
It's not Irvin Kershner. Who is it? Fuck.
Paul
Verhoeven.
Paul Verhoeven. So that's what I think is kind of cool.
Okay, that sounds like
an interesting one. I want to see that.
I would try that. I would
so
check
like
that out.
Scientists at an institute in Norway perfect a process for reducing humans to tiny figures about 6 inches tall, who can live comfortably in a village by like 7 to 11 meters.
So are they hidden figures?
No, they're just tiny people.
Oh.
And they're just living in the world.
I was doing like a reference.
So
what if like just some guy is an asshole and decides to just go stomp on the city?
Well, then they all die.
So could that be like the bad guy is just a kaiju, but he's actually just a normal sized dude?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that makes a lot of sense how you could reduce population size by just shrinking all the people and animals.
So it's got Matt Damon as the main character and Kristen Wiig as his wife.
Because you could have like a pool full of water, and that could be like a reservoir to drink from for like...
Exactly.
For like 700,000 years.
So that's what the movie is about, and that seems pretty interesting.
Okay.
And then the
Although
other
if it
movie
rained,
is
everyone would die.
What?
If there was a really bad rainstorm, everyone would die because your city's so small.
Yep. And then the other one that's going to come out is Suburbicon, which is it's like a Coen Brothers sort of like kind of funny social satire, but more of an allegory, where it's like set in the 1950s. And it's like in the ideal suburban community called Suburbicon, and this guy's like Matt Damon is like he's a 9-to-5 white collar worker, and then his wife gets killed by the mob, and he just starts slowly going insane, and it's kind of funny, and it's got like that sort of like Coen Brothers dry wit, where at the end of the trailer you see Matt Damon with sort of like going crazy. He's riding like a kid's bicycle away from an explosion.
That sounds awesome.
And then there's a great scene. My favorite shot in the trailer is Julianne Moore, who is like his sister or his aunt or his like his it's probably like his sister. It's his kid's aunt who comes to like help them out after their wife dies. And then there's this. She's just got like a bunch of pills, like
pills here.
What?
Pills here.
Yeah, pills. Like just whatever. And
pills
then she's got the
referencing 2009 YouTube.
She's got the dough roller, and then she's just crushing them on a cutting board, and then she just pours it all into a drink. Got tons of pills and just pours them all into a cup and drinks it. It's just so ridiculous. So we've got movies about social satire, about suburban life in America and all that, and capitalism from Matt Damon, except we've got Downsizing and Suburbicon.
Huh.
So he's basically made the same movie twice, but he's made it completely differently.
Cool.
So he's competing against himself.
Well, that's what's funny is that he's made two movies with a very similar premise from the same company starring him, and they're both vying for award. Like, does he like one movie more than the other and would be like upset if one won and the other one didn't?
I don't think he cares. I just think he wants an Oscar.
That would be cool.
Because
his chances are doubled now.
Because fun fact, he was originally supposed to direct and star in Manchester by the Sea, and of course he did neither, and he ended up giving the Best Actor award to Casey Affleck instead. And do you want to know what Matt Damon chose to do instead?
What?
The Great Wall.
Oh no. That was a bad decision.
Mm-hmm.
He did a goof.
He made a mistake, but I think that he's making up for it, because I personally, my favorite of the two is Downsizing, because I just prefer science fiction more than like retro stuff. And plus George Clooney directed Suburbicon, so. Yeah.
Cool. Hey everyone, if you want a cool YouTube channel to go check out, look up Strip Panel Naked, which I know is a hilarious title, but trust me, it's nothing explicit. It is a YouTube channel I've been watching that only has 12,000 subscribers, very confusingly, because they're very talented. That, imagine like if you've seen that channel, Every Frame a Painting, where it kind of breaks down movies and why things work or how things work. But does that exclusively for comic books and even has like interviews with people in the industry. I've been watching a couple of videos from that channel recently, and it's helped me a lot in writing my own comics. Actually, I feel like I've learned a lot, just because it just kind of shows like, here's a thing that a creator does in a comic, and here's how it works, and here's why it's effective, and it's like, well, I could just adapt that into the way I'm writing them, or I could tell Brandon or Joey to start drawing that way, you know? Oh, by the way, that's another thing. A quick announcement on Contest of Slashers, like an update. In order to make it go a little faster, we actually have a secondary artist on it. So, Joey the Artist on Twitter, if David wants to link that.
I'm not going to link it because I'm going to be petty.
Oh, okay. All right. He's doing issue 2. Maybe he'll do like 4 and 6. Like he'll take like the even numbered ones. We're not sure yet. We'll see how he does with issue 2. But because Brandon's got so much stuff to take care of right now and has got so much on his plate that
what's up with his life right now?
Well, he's just started college. He's taking graphic design courses. He's working on his own comics.
He's in college? What a loser.
Whoa, this is a unique premise for a character right now. But yeah, he's basically his schedule is filled with drawing, and more drawing, and that's kind of getting difficult for him to be able to do that much. So it's like the workload is too much. So after Joey had actually kind of offered to do it once before, I was like, hey, I'll take you up on your offer. You wanna just draw issue 2 for us? Maybe a little bit more, depending on how it goes. Mm-hmm. So I sent him over the script for the second issue, and so far he's getting all the fonts for the lettering and stuff, and is talking it out with Damien, who's our colorist, and is gonna start going to town. And he's
how many issues are there going to be? 6
only, and I've got the whole story all planned out and ready already. It's just I've only got scripts done for the first 2. But I have like extensive notes on everything. I left nothing up to I'll just write it when I get there sort of thing. I have like everything planned out, including specific conversations I've even kept notes in my phone for. I really hope that people like the first kind of narrative thing I do on the internet, because a lot of it has just been reviews, and here's me just kind of pointing out the flaws in someone else's storytelling. But I feel like part of it, like, why don't I prove myself? I can show I can write a story, you know? So I'm doing that. I'm gonna try and make sure it's a pretty damn good one. So I've pulled out all the stops, and I'm gonna take it seriously. And I'm not writing this like it's a fan fiction. I'm writing this like it's an actual comic that would be sold. Like, even though it isn't, I want to take it seriously enough, you know?
Are you saying that fan fiction writers don't take their work seriously?
I feel like some don't.
Listen, when somebody writes a comic about Spider-Man and Deadpool having gross...
When someone writes a comic about Spider-Man and Deadpool having graphic anal sex?
Graphic anal sex. Are you saying they didn't take that seriously?
Hey man, maybe to them, it was very important to tell this story, but for me,
yes,
in my opinion,
you're being prejudiced against people who write non-binary gender stories.
I love the idea of just calling someone a racist or sexist or homophobe on basically anything. Like, it doesn't... Like, just work the angle so that you can get there. Like, it doesn't matter what they said. Just figure out a way to spin it that way. That's... And I'm not being... Like, I love accusing Cyclops of being a racist. It's funny.
So... You like calling people a racist. Is that an attempt to make other people sound more racist than you actually are?
No one will know I'm a racist if I call everyone else a racist. Then I'll seem like the hero. I did it, everyone. I figured out culture in the past 5 years.
Nah, I wouldn't go that far.
Whoa, politics.
You're a political person.
You're a No, I'm not. I just make great effort to avoid politics on my social media and the internet because no one cares about my opinion on the president.
People are super political at my college.
Your college in Central Texas. Better loves
Milwaukee, Texas.
Milwaukee, Texas, yeah. So, okay, which side of the spectrum are they really political on?
What?
What are they... When you ask someone how's it hanging, do they say a little to the left or a little to the right, if you know what I mean?
That would, I'm not gonna say.
I somehow managed to turn political stance into a phallic symbol.
Well, I'm not gonna say because I don't know. It might.
It might be a little incendiary.
It might be a little bit incendiary, and it also might be a little bit too specific to my school.
Oh,
so
okay.
I might.
Yeah, it would help people narrow down where you are. Maybe.
Yeah, it would let people narrow down where I am.
Okay,
a lot more than I want.
Okay,
them to.
Answer it for me because I know you better than the audience does.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with everything being said?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Well then, I could understand how that would be a difficult environment to be in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can talk a little bit more about it when we're not recording. So,
Fair enough. You know, it's weird how it's like everything. I don't know. Is it me? Like, is it just like, has it always been this way and I'm only just now noticing it? Or is it just society has taken a turn? But is everything a lot more political now? Like, is everyone just always talking about it?
My school has been the way it is for a long time.
Oh, okay. But I mean, like, you notice how the internet, everyone's constantly...
internet has made things worse, for sure.
Because everyone can yell their opinion all the time about anything. So why keep it to yourself, you know, is kind of the...
Why keep the bile and hatred to yourself? Make everybody else as miserable as you are.
Make sure everyone else thinks exactly the same way as you do. And if they have any counter opinions, yell at them as much as possible. And then when they yell at you back, go, psh, look at these children. It's bizarre how, like, crazy culture has gotten in the United States. Because... You know, that's one of the things about...
It's been a long time coming, that's what I'll say.
One of the things about having such a wide audience is that I talk to a lot of people in different countries now. Like my friend from Australia, or I've talked to a guy in the UK, Canadian. It just doesn't seem to be like that anywhere else. Like,
no, it's like that in the UK, I can tell you that.
but for different people. The UK isn't specifically like constantly talking about Hillary v. Trump. They don't
look. They had Trump. We had Trump. They had Brexit.
They have their own thing that they're all talking about.
That's what they're all political about. And there was the snap election in June.
Well, it's like my buddy from Canada is like, yeah, what's going on down there? It seems like everyone's going crazy, and it's like, yeah, they are.
Well, Canada is Canada.
Everyone's fighting over everything. It feels like every time anyone has an opinion on something, like no matter which way it goes, it's just ripe for starting an argument. You know, like I'm not picking a side and saying, well, yeah, it's those baby leftists always get angry, or those Bible thumping righties. No, I mean like everyone.
I don't know if anybody says righties.
Well, they will start saying righties because I invented that term, just like the lefties.
Although I do remember,
are you a lefty or a righty? Trick question. Both.
Well, I'm
terrible.
left-handed.
Oh, so that's
but there's nothing to do with my political leanings.
I guess I'm gonna have to unfriend you on Facebook then.
Yeah, you don't want to hear me posting about how desks are designed to be painful for left-handed people. You don't like to hear that because
we need equal rights for left-handed people. Okay, we don't have mice that are readily available at the store. I'm right-handed. I'm just making a joke.
What's the word? I'm trying to come up with the type of politically I'm trying to come up with what kind of bigot you are.
Oh, okay. A handist?
Yeah.
A handist.
You're a handist because did you know that the word for left-handed in Latin sinister has come to mean evil? It's prejudice against left-handed people because of that.
This thing that's existed for several thousand years is prejudiced?
Well, actually, it was explicitly prejudiced in the past.
Didn't they, train people to stop using their left hands, like, if they saw them doing it, like, in schools?
Yep.
That's neat.
They thought it was the sign of the devil.
Well, I mean, I would believe that you're possessed.
Possessed with what?
I don't know. I feel like I had, like, a big point to say about something, but I got kind of thrown off track. Basically,
that's this podcast in a nutshell.
Yeah, this has been a good episode. I think,
Let's see if this episode comes out before the next one. Before your one comes out. We recorded 2 weeks ago.
We could just release them both on the same day and just say, fuck it.
Yeah.
That would be funny, actually. Hey, Harry, you want 4 hours of podcast?
Yeah, because that podcast we recorded 2 weeks ago. Or was it last? Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, I've been thinking, part of me wants to cut down on the amount of Spider-Man Homecoming discussion in there, because I feel like it just gets a little redundant. Like, we say the same things like 6 times now that I've been listening over it.
If you want to edit it, then go ahead.
Okay.
It's just that I've stuck to a policy of minimal editing when it comes to subject change, because I don't want that kind of headache.
Yeah, I get it. It's hard to keep it like flowing while also like cinching up the conversation so it's not quite as all over the place. Is tomorrow that one holiday?
What holiday?
That one day where everyone can stay home from work because it's a Monday?
No, I still have school.
Oh. I don't have school.
Well, that's because you don't have school on Mondays normally. So it's not an exception.
I am an exception.
What? You're an exception to the rule that redheads are intelligent and attractive?
Oh, fuck you. That was bad. It was mean. You're a mean guy. We're not friends anymore. You're fired.
Why don't you come over here where I am and fight about it?
Kick your ass. Give me your address. Tell me where you live, motherfucker. I'll come over there and beat your ass.
That would be like I'm just imagining like an interrogation scene in a movie where a crime boss is interrogating some like guy for his it's like, tell me where the drugs is, or you better give me the money or I'll kill you. I'm gonna kill you and everybody you love. And then he just says, hey, but by the way, can you, I didn't get your address. Can you tell me where you live?
Hey, can you just, okay, theoretically, if I wanted to go to your house and kill your whole family, what is, like, the street address? Like, I just, save me some headaches so I don't have to look for it. Like, just where, like, if I were trying to mail you something, where would I send it? Oh, don't give me a P.O. box. God damn it. You know, I wish more people would animate the stuff in these podcasts. I feel like there's been more than one good riff that we could have someone turn into a cartoon. I know Joey was working on one for a little while, but then I kind of bogged him down with like 6 other projects because I was like, holy shit, this guy's super talented. And then I was like, hey, you want to do this? And he was like, sure. And I was like, hey, you want to do this? And he was like, sure.
Mm-hmm.
I am so lucky to know as many people as I do that are so talented and awesome.
Yeah, you know, I mean, yeah, because like when you meet people in real life, you meet people like me.
Yeah. But I have a lot of friends who on the internet now who know how to do some crazy awesome stuff, some awesome artists, great graphic designers. You know, Andrexman got me my new channel logo. Art Vader did the channel background for me now with the updated logo. I got a guy named The Line of Characters on Twitter who has updated my avatar for videos.
Yeah, Andrexman is awesome.
Oh, yeah,
he gave me the animation logo and basically the whole layout of my channel.
Andrexman's such a nice guy. He's working on a short film now. Actually, he asked if he could put an Easter egg to our channels in it.
Why not?
So yeah, I told him yes right away. Like I don't know if I even consulted you before I just said yeah. Because I thought
you should have consulted me because I would have said no. No, you can't appreciate us and shout us out in a creative work.
Have a piece of art that has a vague reference to us. So I don't know what he's gonna do with that exactly. Like maybe they'll have like a in joke from one of our videos thrown in there in the dialogue, or maybe just someone in the background of a scene will be watching a video from us on like a laptop or something. But either way, it's cool to have that in there.
It is.
He said it's gonna be released on YouTube. So I'm looking forward to that. I also want to thank my buddy Scrubs Animate. I don't know if he's comfortable with me saying his real name, so I won't. He's working on a bit in the Ultimate Alliance review with me right now that's gotten very far into development, and we're still working on it. But, I had a lot of fun working on that.
So should we expect another Batman sketch from the Arkham Knight review type thing?
Yes, it's actually pretty much like that, except now that you're no longer here to be in silly costumes with me. Because I actually considered very briefly, like, what if I made this like a live action bit? But then I was just like, it wouldn't really fit well. But, he's doing an animation using the character models and even environments from the game. So to look near indistinguishable from like a cutscene from the game. In fact, it might even be better animated because of the tech he has. So it's going to be really cool to throw that in there. And I don't know, I have a good feeling about this one. I think it might potentially start like another long-running joke on the channel.
Yep. I hope it does, because Bomb Squad is played out by now.
Bomb Squad was played out a year ago. And we're still...
And then it's a zombie of a joke. Just sort of... Every time you think it's gonna die, it just keeps walking forward.
It's the Jason You shoot it in the chest, jokes.
You shoot it in the head, you shoot it in the leg. It doesn't really matter, just slows it down.
It's still coming for me.
You make a short film about how it's a bad idea, and it's kind of dumb, and it keeps going.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Turkey sandwiches is highly underrated.
I think turkey sandwiches is one of the best things I've put together. And it gets more relevant as time goes on, because certain unnamed people make the subject matter of it more relevant by the day. You know, like
I can confirm that.
You can personally attest to that as well as other people we know.
Yep.
It's funny how like it didn't resonate with anyone at all, even though I told the people who it was specifically like aimed at that it was aimed at them, and they've continued to do the thing that I was making fun of them for in full force, even worse than before. And I think they don't even remember that I made that video.
I love turkey sandwiches.
I want to do more videos like that where I just am being kind of passive-aggressive, but also in a really funny way. Because, I remember I got a lot of pushback from Josh for doing that one, because he was like, this is really mean-spirited. I was like, no, it's not, because no one's going to get it.
I said, go ahead and do it. This is amazing.
Well, because it wasn't really mean-spirited. It was it tried to look at the perspective from both sides. I wanted it to be evened out. He said it was very petty. I mean, it didn't stop him from filming it with me, but
and showing up in it.
Yeah, and being in it. But no, I feel like it was very well handled, because you could call someone out, or you could call a group of people out by just yelling at them on Twitter, or you could be really clever about it and just kind of like make the point about multiple things at once. In like an artistic way. And I feel like I was able to get across my point in a way that wasn't...
very artistic middle finger.
Yes. And partially to myself, too. Because, it's pretty obvious that the main chef in there is supposed to be me.
Yeah, you insult yourself.
I'll
come back when you have some more turkey sandwiches.
I'll come back. Yeah, well, actually, a lot of the dialogue in there also was either actual Twitter conversations or mean comments on YouTube that I actually wrote in directly. Like, I just switched a noun and then wrote it in. Like, I just copy and pasted it because I was like, hey, that's pretty fucking mean. Why would you say that? I love the way Hannah delivered one line in there. Because there's the line, how does it feel to know you'll never live up to these turkey sandwiches? And you know that, like, because I showed you that comment right after I got it, and I immediately said, why would he say that? Like, I was really genuinely kind of hurt by that. And she delivered that line perfectly. That was so on point that she said it almost exactly the way I said it, like, 2 months before we filmed that. And I didn't give her that direction at all. I didn't tell her about
Hannah's a good actor.
Hannah's fantastic.
Actor girl.
I want to work with Hannah more. It's just sad that she's a little bit farther away because of college stuff. But
well, she's not that far compared to me.
Yeah, that's true. But she's a great actress, and I like that the bridge crab joke is kind of caught on a little, because now it's one of the emojis in the Discord server. Hey, did everyone know about the Discord server? Go check that out.
Yeah, you announced it.
Okay.
Yeah, I joined it and then I never came back on it again.
Well, that's your fault, Morty. That's your fault for not appreciating art.
But wait, so let me get this straight. You're the smart one and I'm the dumb one. So you're the Rick to my Morty, despite the fact that you're going to community college film school and I'm going to a real college.
Listen to this guy over here. Don't break your arm jerking yourself off, Morty. You see?
Yeah, Morty.
No, it's because I'm the zany, self-destructive, crazy one with the terrible ideas.
But you've got the high-pitched voice. You've got the perfect high-pitched voice for Morty.
Okay, who is the one who said we should dress up as Riddler and Batman off the side of a major thoroughfare and then pretend to drive around on a tiny bicycle?
That
at a loss for words.
Well, then again, I made you wear a pair of sunglasses on the lake while a bunch of people heckled you from a boat that was docking at the time, so...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Cyclops scene, which...
The If you haven't seen my X-Men 3 review, we shot the Cyclops scene where Xavier played Cyclops.
We gotta
and we
put
were
together
filming
like
that.
a thing one day, like a compilation of all of the sketches in costumes that we've done, including like that.
We filmed that on the side of a lake this past summer, and so the day that I drove up to his side of town and went up to the lake, we were, it's a popular little tourist destination in our corner of Colorado, so people will take their boats up there, because where else are you going to drive a boat in Colorado except for, like, reservoirs? So they had a person who was landing their boat while we were shooting that scene, and then the little kids on the side of the lake went, "Are you making a movie? It looks bad.
Can we be in it? You suck. You're a bad actor. Hey, can I join?"
Yeah, exactly.
One of the kids who thought he was, like, super clever by heckling you, like, he just kept going and going. And then I said something that got him really flustered because I can't remember if he had any kind of response. Like, didn't he say, "Hey, can I be in it?" And I said, "Only if you can be 2 feet taller." And then didn't he just, like, say "fuck you" in return? Like actually just yell that? I can't remember what he said. It was something...
I don't think he did.
He just got really salty about it after I said that, because it was the first time I had, like, fired back at all. We were just kind of ignoring him.
I was just more focused on getting it done.
Yeah. Man.
Because that was right about when the park was going to close, so I didn't want to leave my car trapped in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because there was a gate around the parking lot, so we had to go down there to the lake, and it was like a 15-minute walk from the car to the to the
edge of the lake.
To the edge of the lake, yeah. So your car was, like, basically in a parking lot that has a fence around it and a closing gate, and we had to film it and get back in time before they shut it in there, so you'd be fucked. But like, it was within walking distance of my house, technically, so we wouldn't be completely out of, we wouldn't be at a complete loss, but it would have definitely sucked to have to wait overnight until your car could get out of there.
Yeah.
So we had to run back, basically. Like, we were full on sprinting back, and they were just barely starting to close up the place. Like, there was like 3 cars left in that lot.
So we escaped just in the nick of time.
I gotta tell you, it was fun just going out on the lake. Like, there's something weird about filming stuff like that in the Riddler race, where...
I love doing on-location stuff.
Where we're filming... Well, yeah, I think that's one thing that we have over certain other YouTube channels, is that we're willing to actually go to a location to film a thing. Like, we don't always just do it in the backyard.
Stand in front of our green screen.
Or do it in front of a green screen. Like, I'm not bashing on the guy, but like Nostalgia Critic, he does a lot of his reviews using his green screen, and it gets a little tiresome because it just kind of takes out the funniness of it. But it's like, hey, we want to film a bit where we reenact a scene on the edge of the lake from X-Men. So we drove to an actual lake, or we want to do a bit.
They're harder than you might want to. They're a little bit hard to find in Colorado. We're kind of a landlocked state.
We were really lucky to find that one.
We're not so Minnesota or anything.
Yeah, or like, we want to film a bit where we're driving around in a bicycle through cones. Well, I mean, you could do it in like the front yard, but that would be a little bit kind of cringy, like, lame, because there's no like work put in. So we were like, hey, let's go drive over to this like parking lot over by a major park where tons of people are driving by constantly.
And looking at us with weird looks.
There was a couple of people who were kind of heckling too, but just they were so far away, and also
that didn't really matter.
I didn't hear what they were saying most of the time because the Batman cowl kind of obscured my hearing, and also just because it was just like I was so focused on just getting it done because it
was starting to snow, so it
wasn't starting. It was in the middle of snowing, and I already had a cold, so my voice sounded like this, and I sounded like I was... Like, if you watch the BTS video, you can hear how it sounds. Oh, my cat wants to go outside. Hang on. David, say something funny into the audience.
I don't know what to say that's funny at the moment. I can't be funny just on
while I'm over here on the other side of the room.
Okay, well,
I don't know.
I don't know how people like Filthy Frank can go out in public in a silly costume and then just act super weird and embarrass the fuck out of themselves in front of a camera.
And keep a stay in character.
And stay in character and keep a straight face. That is so impressive to me, and I have so... Like, a lot of people go, what a bunch of social rejects, a bunch of freaks. It's like, no, they're entertainers, and they're damn good ones because they're being silly in public and doing these prank videos and shit. Well, not even really prank videos. They're more just weird sketches thrown into actual videos. But, like, it takes a lot of, like, work to not get all red-faced and flustered and freaked out when you're doing that. Like, I felt the embarrassment a lot when we were on the lake while people were, like, watching and, like, what the fuck are they doing? This kid's, like, shaking with fear and rage and going, and then pulling off his glasses and yelling at the sky. You know? People were standing there watching going, what are you doing? And it's like, well, I'm filming a thing.
Movie making isn't as epic as you might think it is. It's pretty lame.
It's pretty lame.
When you're actually on set and everything.
No, yeah, I mean... It's when I
the key of a good actor is to acknowledge that what you're doing is ridiculous and just accept it and embrace that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you're an actor, you have to do some silly shit. Like, I can imagine trying to do, like, a badass action sequence on a green screen with, like, stunt wires. You don't feel like a badass at all. You feel like some kind of action figure, like, being puppeteered with strings, and it's really uncomfortable, and it's, like, probably really boring because you have to wait 40 minutes for them to get everything rigged up right and get the camera ready. But people are able to, like, make the faces like they're in this situation, like they're serious about it, with such finesse. And it always impresses me how much they can do the most absurd, goofy bullshit and make it believable. Because, like, or like the fight scene from the end of Avengers 2, where they're all fighting a bajillion robots. That was all just them standing around in an empty spot swinging their fists at nothing. And then they were like, all right, we'll just digitally add robots for them to punch later. It must have looked so silly for just, here's like 10 people in superhero costumes just waving their arms. You could just like imagine the sound of just like this sound effect.
I'm just imagining myself as like a grip or like just somebody offset. Just sort of watching them, just waving their arms around, just trying not to, holding their mouth in and trying not to laugh while they just stand there, flailing their arms around like an idiot.
Yeah,
in silly costumes,
and they make it look cool. Like then the scene comes out where you add the effects, and damn, they look pretty badass. They didn't feel badass when they were filming it, and that's the important part.
I feel like that's a general rule when it comes to, like, movies and acting. The more badass you feel, the less badass you actually are, and vice versa.
Yeah. I mean, there are even, like, an emotional crying scene on a green screen, like, where it's just, you're in front of this giant neon glowing piece of technology that looks like something from, like, a McDonald's play place. And you're supposed to be like crying about the death of a character or something. Like I imagine as an actor, it's hard to get into scenes like that.
Yeah.
I respect actors. They're cool people.
Actormans.
Yeah.
Only. Wait. So you said actormans, but you didn't say actorwomen's. So are you sexist?
Oh damn it! You got me.
I got you again.
But
so if you're watching this or if you're in the comments, you need to start overanalyzing everything that Xavier does and automatically call him sexist, racist, and all that now.
Just do that in general. I think that's funny. Like when you're doing it ironically to just.
All I'm saying is just do it to Xavier.
Oh, okay.
Do it to nobody else. Just Xavier.
There's a bit in the Ultimate Alliance review that might actually kind of get people to think that. Although the joke is supposed to be that we're mocking the person. We'll talk about it after that comes out, so
yeah,
look forward to that. I actually have some stuff I gotta film for that today, like live actiony stuff. Should be really quick though. Yeah, but that animated segment in the Ultimate Alliance review, one quick thing, it was really cool because I got to draw out the storyboards, and I'm not very good at drawing, but I drew out the storyboards for what I wanted in the scene, and then I took a picture of all of them with my phone, and then edited together, like, a sequence of them, and then did all the sound editing, so there's, like, the ambient noise of the fireplace in the background, there's the room tone of multiple people there, there's the echo, because it's a big room, there's the sound effects of him patting someone on the shoulder, like, I put all that in there.
Cool.
And then did an animatic, and then after that, to help my buddy Scrubs with the animating, I did kind of like a poor man's mocap, where I put on my Spider-Man costume. Spoilers that Spider-Man's in it. And in order to really get across the kind of motions I wanted, I turned on my camera and pointed it at myself in a kind of similar camera angle from the one in the video. And I turned on the clip, like, after it was fully edited on my phone with all the timing and everything.
Yeah.
And then just mimed it out in front of the camera like a goofball, just, like, flailing my arms and, like, talking and gesturing.
You're a goofball.
So that he could animate it based on that. So I got to basically script, storyboard, and then mocap a scene for my new video. And that was...
But you didn't wear face dots, so it's not true mocap.
No, next time we gotta do face dots. I think you can actually do some mocap if you get an Xbox Kinect. It's actually capable of doing that, and I think that's really fascinating. That makes me think like it would be fun to get one of those just specifically for the idea of using it for animations. But anyway, yeah, lots of cool video stuff we're working on. Lots of goofy, dumb, behind-the-scenes stuff. Lots of accusing people of racism and talking about really horrible things.
And lots of bodily fluids on
cookies. Yeah, it's been an eventful podcast. I hope people like this episode.
Yep.
All right.
Hope you like it.
I'm looking forward to recording the next one, David. And it sucks that you're not here anymore. I'm gonna be honest, brother. I miss you a lot. I don't have anybody to watch movies with on the weekends and hold the boom mic for me when I want to make an ass of myself on camera. And I'm hoping you'll come back real soon. It's only a 90-hour drive.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on which route you take. Because if you drive from
New Zealand,
if you drive from Menominee, New York, through Chicago and up through Wisconsin and Montana and Washington, and then down through California and Nevada and Wisconsin down to Florida, and then back through the central states to Colorado, then it might take a couple of 100 hours, but I don't think that's the route that I'm going to take.
Okay, well, regardless, I miss you. We should hang out again soon. My brother, yeah, you're gone. You died. You moved away, so it's like basically you just died. That's basically
I'm talking to you right now, so...
No, you're dead! There is nothing left. You're a ghost. You're a shitty ghost. Because you're not even like
Does that mean
ghost.
I can haunt you?
You already haunt me.
Yes.
Don't do your weird evil laugh. It doesn't... You gotta work on it, man. It just kind of falls flat. You gotta...
So how would you do it? That sounds too forced. That sounds like you're trying too hard.
And it just becomes
My favorite scene with an evil laugh still has to be the bit in Austin Powers where they're sort of like laughing and then it's sort of like hee ha 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 when the laugh is down and there's just that awkward moment.
Yeah.
That's the best scene. It's so great.
That's a perfect place to end the podcast. I'm shutting it down right